Hello and welcome to my channel, Intentionally Creating My Life. My name is Elizabeth and I am going to be talking briefly about how I came to a point in my life where I feel that I have simplified my life. I'm now at a stage of my life where I feel that my life is manageable and probably more enjoyable than it had been for quite a long time. At this stage, I'm not going to talk about emptying drawers or cupboards or, decluttering and get the bin bags out or anything. I'm actually going to talk about boundaries because one of the areas that I very early on recognized was that I didn't have very good boundaries set in place for my time. I tended to be a yes person. People asked me to do things and I kind of did things regardless of the impact on my life. One of the things was that I have 3 children grown up. The youngest is 21 now, but I also have 5 grandchildren, and I think I actually started putting boundaries around my time about 10-12 years ago when I had 4 grandchildren and I used to mind them very regularly. I also used to call and collect them from school or creches and different things, and it was fine. I did enjoy it, but at the same time I felt that I had done my time as a parent. I think it's a kind of a maybe a more recent phenomenon that obviously I'm not the oldest granny around. I still have my own life. I had my own first daughter very young when I was just turned 18, and I think I came to a point where I just wanted a little bit of me time. My own mum, was a stay-at-home mum, and she wouldn't have expected other people to mind her children, and I was the same. I just had my children. It was just presumed you have your children. It's up to you to sort out their care and who looks after them and everything. And that's what I did. But, times change. I have a different probably relationship with my own children. I don't know. But I loved minding my grandkids. But at the same time, I think there came a point where I just had to say, I will do it, but not as much. And it started on Tuesday night for me, funnily enough, because I had actually been minding the children very, very regularly, up to a point where I was going to a regular yoga class, but one of my daughters got a few hours extra work on an evening, and I packed in the yoga class to mind her child. At the time I thought nothing of it, but then I was no longer doing yoga and I didn't feel too good about that. So it was actually another group that I wanted to join, and I felt, well, if I'm going to join, I'm going to make a commitment to continue with this. I'm not going to give it up. And so I brought my daughters together and said to them, I'm going to do this on a Tuesday night. I won't be around to mind the kids. If something happens, can you sort something out for yourselves? And lo and behold, they did. They managed perfectly well. And gradually over time I started minding my grandchildren less and less, and they managed. They found their old alternatives. I'm still here for them if they need me. If something creeps up and there's an emergency or anything like that, I will still do my bit. I love when my grandchildren come to visit. In fact, if I don't see them too often, which can be the case now a little bit around COVID and everyone's keeping to themselves, then I miss them desperately. But I don't feel put upon now with my grandchildren, and I just think that's a much more healthy way to be with them, I think. So that's what I would say to you if you're looking to simplify your life in any way, is to think about your boundaries. They might be to do with work, they could be to do with friends, they could be to do with neighbours, they might even be to do with elderly relatives. A lot of us just fall into a way of living, and everyone likes to be nice. If somebody asks you, can you do something? Yeah, yes. But I think there comes a point where you can be nice to everybody else and forget to be nice to yourself, and you're important too. So that would be my thoughts on simplifying, you know, really have a good think about it and think of the areas that you could do with gathering a little bit of time for yourself. And if that means setting your boundaries, then so be it. And I wish you luck on that adventure. So if this has been useful to anybody, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. If you have any comments, that would be super duper too. And if you would like to give me a thumbs up, that would be great, just to know that somebody's out there and I've said something that might mean something to them. And as we say in Ireland, I think it's the home of the long goodbyes. I could be wrong, but I know it takes a lot of time sometimes for people to leave a house, including me. I'm going and then you think of something else to say, just like now. And on the telephone we have a tradition of saying, okay, so goodbye, bye 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 bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye. Yes, and I think it's like a competition of who can say the most goodbyes. Well, I think I've won this one. Okay, take care now, and until tomorrow, bye bye.